Well, welcome back everybody to the Energy Update Weekly, a weekly series looking at trends and prices of in the petroleum industry around the United States. And so without further ado, let's move to the boards. We're going to start today again with the price of crude. Let me give this a quick update to see if it changed. And we're using WTI crude, which is West Texas Intermediate, and that is the bench price oil in the United States, $92.09, pretty similar to what it was last time we looked at this, which was the week ending the 29th of July, and that was $91.40. So it's come up slightly, but holding pretty steady. Okay, rig counts for the week ending 8/12, which was yesterday. You can see that it is down 1 from the previous week, down 4 from 2 weeks ago. The last time I posted on this was at 767. Now we're at 763, so down 4. And we'll look at where the majority of that, if not all of that decrease has come from. So let's go look at the frac spreads and let that load here. And we can see that for the week ending 8/12 yesterday, down 4. So weekly average, 289 a week, 285 the previous week, so down 4. But numbers are tracking pretty consistent around the 280s on a weekly basis. So again, those are rig wells that have been drilled, but they are not completed, and so sometime after the wells are completed, then they go in and complete them, which means that they open up the productive formation to the pipeline that is going to pull the oil or gas out of the formation and then deliver it into the system on the surface. That includes refining, and then finally the end product, your gas tank or your stove or something like that. Okay, so jump over to EIA, and we're going to start looking at the price of gasoline. And this chart tracks from 2020 up to current, and so these kind of orange squares were 2020, 2021, and then the blue squares start in 2021 going to 2022, so almost through the fiscal year here. So we're at the end, the beginning of August here, and you can see in the past month, maybe month and a half, the price of gasoline has come down from $5 a gallon to $4 a gallon, which is about a 20% decrease. Still a long ways to go to get back down to these prices at $2.25, which we are so used to for so many years. Diesel fuel, same type of thing, has come down, from almost $6 to about $5 a gallon, national average. Okay, future prices, oil. Okay, here we are sitting at 90. This WTI. And this is probably a week old. In fact, these data came out on I believe it was the 10th, last Wednesday, and so they're for the week previous to that. Okay, so let's go look at the inputs then to refineries, and again, this is a 6-week running average, and so the last update was for 8/5, so the end of basically the first week of August. 16.58 million barrels a day of input into the refineries. That's up 700,000 barrels a day from the previous week. Again, the last time we looked at this in the last episode, and a utilization in 8/5 of about 94%. So if you look through these past 6 weeks, you can see that the average utilization is going to be about 93, maybe a little over 93%, and that's probably pretty average. Okay, what is in stocks? This is the weekly stocks, and so let's look at this third line here. The crude oil, this is including Strategic Petroleum Reserve, 896.5 million barrels, so almost a billion barrels. If we take out the petroleum reserves, we got about 432 million barrels that have been produced, sitting in facilities waiting to be refined. Okay, this number up here, 1.22 billion barrels, that is total crude in stock, plus all of the refined products that are sitting, waiting to be distributed to the end user, like motor gasoline, 220,000 barrels, and then all the different types of, you can see here, reformulated, blended with ethanol, all these other, with alcohol, with ether, with all the different things in the gasoline. Carojet, about 41,000 barrels there. Distillate fuel oil, this is the diesel fuel, and of course then again the different sulfur grades for highway and farm use. So these numbers, again, you look through here, they don't vary a lot. They will seasonally. When agriculture is not in full swing, you might see the diesel fuel drop off in regard to that, and so we'll track those through as we continue on. So the big number is, probably the second line up here, kind of the stuff that's not including, again, the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, is crude oil in the ground in storage. So this other number here, excluding the SPR, is surface products, and that's what we're going to kind of keep watching going through. Okay, now we've been looking at a oil zone, if you will, a productive area over the past few weeks, and this week I thought I would look down at the Permian Basin. Here's the map of the United States. These colored counties include the area in the Permian Basin. The Permian Basin, as the name implies, is Permian age. This was a shallow marine reef complex, and aged roughly 300 to 250 million years ago, and it was a coral reef and had tremendous amounts of life in it that now, after the seas have left the area and those corals have turned into rock, it's a series of primarily limestones and shales, and all the sea critters that were active in the reefal environment have produced vast stores of oil and gas. And so again, if you remember, the rig number in the United States was like 767 or something like that. 347 of those are active in the Permian Basin, and here's the -4 that we saw in the rig count last week that have dropped off, and they have come from the Permian Basin. So half of the rigs running in the U.S. are right down here in this area. So it's a very prolific area, a tremendous amount of activity. 95% of those wells are horizontal. Almost all of them are oil, so there must be one gas well being drilled out here, and it's deep. You can see this little blue slice up here, greater than 15,000 feet. Most of these oil wells are in the 5 to 10,000 foot vertical range, and then they go horizontal, and again the horizontal leg might be 10 to 15,000 feet horizontal. So the Permian Basin has recently had an assessment by the U.S. Geological Survey looking at what's called undiscovered continuous oil and gas resources, and they're looking at two formations in particular, the Wolfcamp and the Bone Spring, and these are both in the Delaware Basin, which is a sub-province of the overall Permian Basin, and they have assessed here it is, technically recoverable continuous mean resource of 46.3 billion barrels of oil and 281 trillion cubic feet of gas. So this number right here, 46.3 billion barrels of oil in just these two formations, is about double the actual value that is used for the known resources in the United States total, which I think is around 23 billion barrels right now. So just in the Permian Basin, in these two formations, where this is doubled. And this is not inconsistent with most other oil provinces because of the ability to get more oil now with this horizontal drilling. So in these in the Delaware Basin, there's 11 oil units, and they're listed here. 2 of them are gas and 9 are oil. And these values are calculated on 3 probabilities, F95, an F50, and an F5, which means that the F95 is a 95% probability that the numbers you see here will come to pass. There's a 50% probability that these values in the center row will come to pass, and a 5% that these will come to pass. So in the Delaware Basin, there is a 5% chance of 71 billion barrels of crude oil. So the mean, 46.2 billion barrels. Natural gas, 281,000 billion cubic feet of natural gas. So this is a huge, huge resource. That is why there's 347 rigs running down there today. It's very, very active. It has remained probably the most active oil province in the U.S., even in the past several years with the downturn and the things that we've seen in the oil markets. The Permian Basin is still quite active. Okay, so that'll do it for today's update. So remember, keep your tank topped off. Don't let it drop below half. You'll get better mileage if you keep your tank full. Fill up in the morning when it's cool and fill slow. You'll get more product into your tank and less air. All right, so that'll do it for this week, and we'll talk to you again in a week. Thanks for watching. See ya.